guys, I felt like going live today. I hardly ever do this, and it's definitely out of my comfort zone. Um, so bear with me. I basically just wanted to share some things that are on my mind. Hi Namisha, how are you doing? It's lovely to see you. Yeah, I've just been out shopping and I felt like God was talking to me. So I just wanted to share some things, and I feel like when I get those feelings, like when I feel like God's talking to me or I'm getting some guidance, like I like to share it because I feel like it might help somebody else too. So yeah, I thought I'd be brave today and just talk about some stuff, and hopefully if anybody sees it, it'll help them too. Basically, the main thing that I was getting was that freedom is so important. So, when we feel shackled to anything, or when we don't feel like we can be free and we can do what we feel guided to do, it can feel really stifling and it stops the flow of life energy too, and it can make things really hard. Even if it's something that you love, if you start to feel shackled to it and like you can't leave when you want to leave, or you feel like you have to show up for something even if it's not it's not in the moment, it's not in the flow, and when it feels forced, it can. Oh, hiya, Shards. I'm just talking about some stuff. Like, I felt like God was talking to me today, and so I just wanted to share some things, and hopefully, if other people are going through something, it'll help them too. There's been a lot of things recently. Like, I don't know if anybody else has had the same thing, but there's been a lot of things that I've been feeling shackled to and like forced to show up for. And when things just get to a point where it's not alive anymore and there's no authenticity, and it's like you're literally just showing up because you feel like you have to, and everything becomes stagnant and there's no movement or anything. That's what I felt like God was telling me today. I mean, obviously, some of you guys who know me well probably have an idea about a particular situation that I'm talking about in my own life, but I'm sure you guys have probably experienced something similar, when you feel trapped in a situation, or you can't get out of it. You can't, you feel it's like being caught in a web. It's like being caught in a web and some massive spider is just hovering over you ready to pounce, and it's like you can't move. Or when you get sleep paralysis and you can't move, like you're just stuck there and you can't do anything, like you can't move your toes, you can't move your hands, and it's just terrifying. It can be hard to get ourselves out sometimes of a situation that we feel trapped in, and it can be a vicious cycle too. Like we can get to a point where we don't realize that we've got the power to break free, that we've got the power to make a move. We can do something different with our lives if we want to. Another thing that's been on my mind that I think God's been laying on my heart recently is balance. So when we kind of put too much into one thing, or one limited kind of, even if it's a few things, if it's like a limited thing that we put all our energy into, everything becomes imbalanced, and it's like there's no room for growth anymore, and no when there's no real energy, it's artificial, and it's just like it can become toxic. And again, you feel like you can't escape it. I tend to find that, like, when I force myself to do something new every day, or where I force myself to talk to some new people, or go to some new places I've never been before, or try different things, like try different activities, everything is a lot better. Like, I start to see things differently, I start to experience like new ideas, and you get different ways of looking at things, and you can get solutions to problems that you've been struggling with for weeks maybe. But just by doing something new, you might encounter something or someone who can help you with that problem, and you don't have to struggle anymore, and things just become easier. Like, I would always say, like, if you're trying to work on something or do something, and you're like sat there for hours and you don't feel like you're getting anywhere or making any progress, like have a break and just do something that you feel guided to, even if it seems crazy. Like if you want to go for a walk somewhere you haven't been before, or if you want to do something really random like that you don't usually do, like karate, or like read about fishing, or and it could be anything. But if you go and like let yourself do that thing for a little while, you might then get a fresh idea that might help you with what you were trying to do, what you were working on. I think stuff like that is really important. And I feel like as a group as well, that's probably a big lesson that we're going through. I know some of y'all who are in my group chats, you know what I'm talking about. But even if you're just a follower who's just watching me on this and you don't really know who I am, and you've just kind of like tuned in, I would recommend, if you feel stuck in life, if you just kind of like have a moment where you just go and try something new, like that can really help you. And it can open life up and it can make things more exciting, and it can really make a difference too. Like it can make a difference in what you feel is possible and what you feel is possible for you. Because sometimes we feel like things are possible for other people, but they're not possible for us, if that makes sense. Like I know some of us have self-worth issues, and so we feel like things that are possible for other people are out of our kind of reach. But the more that we try new things and that we break out of our comfort zone, the more we see that this isn't true. And particularly with like all the stuff that's going on in the world right now, it can be a lot of fear and a lot of a sense of limitation. But there's different ways of doing things. There's ways around things. We don't have to do the same thing every day. Hi, Ashley. We don't have to do the same thing every day. We can do things in a different way, and that can change everything. So yeah, God was laying that on my heart about balance too. Balance and freedom. They're like the themes that are really important at the moment, I think, for everybody. And as well as balance and freedom, I think another thing that's come up, and I feel like it could be a collective lesson, is investment. So, what are we investing in? Like, what are we spending our time on? And are those things that we're spending our time on, are they paying off for us, like emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally? Sometimes we can get stuck in a rut and we feel like we have to follow the same routines, or keep putting the same level of effort into something because we have done for a long time, whether it's our jobs or a relationship or a passion or anything like that. But actually, we can choose how we distribute our energy and how we distribute our time. And we can put effort into things that pay off more for us personally and enrich us. And it's like when our cup is filled, we can then help other people. When your cup is not filled, you don't help anybody, and you just become resentful and not want to do anything. So it's really important that we're investing in things that kind of invest in us back as well. I talk about the 80-20 rule a lot. And what the 80-20 rule is basically, they've done studies and they found that in nature and in science and in the world generally, you only really get results from about 20% of things. So like 80% of results come from 20% of causes. So, you might have like 10 people who are like your friends or family or like business connections or anybody you interact with. But out of those 10 people, you probably get the most from just about 2 or 3 of them. And it doesn't always like seem fair, but when you start to recognise this, you can think, okay, the 2 or 3 people who I have a really great connection with, that enriches my life, how can I find more people who are like that? And how can I like reduce maybe the other 2 or 3 people who are like draining me? Or it's the same with activities. Maybe you've got like 10 things you do regularly, and one or two of them makes you feel really good and it enhances your life and you get a lot from it. But there's a few things on there that just drain you or that do nothing for you or that you're just bored of. So you can cut those out and you can start doing more activities, or you can spend more time on the things that are giving you more. And the more that you start to do that and you start to think about it and analyse it and put it into practice, like, your life can change very quickly. You can experience a lot of changes in an accelerated way, so that you're not just basically doing the same things all the time and, not making any growth, not making any progress. Something else that God is laying on my heart is that even when we're working hard and playing hard and when we're trying to do big things, we can still have a chill life. Like, if we're in flow, if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, even if we're making sacrifices and we're doing the right thing and doing the hard things sometimes, because sometimes you have to do that, you can still have a chill experience. You don't have to be stressed and harassed all the time. Like, you can relax, you can be in a groovy vibe, you don't have to worry. I feel like God is trying to show me that, there are ways of doing, like, there are hacks, there are ways of doing things so that stuff is easier. And, when things are easier, you do have more freedom to take more risks and to do things that are a bit more out there, or things that you want to do, or, if you want to help people, like, even something like getting to bed and going to sleep at a different time. And it might not be a conventional way of doing things, but if it works for you, then you should do it. I've been thinking a lot recently about Jesus and how he lived his life, and he lived his life in a very unconventional way. Like, he basically hung out with homeless people and just kind of did his thing, and he travelled around. Like, he didn't have a job. I mean, yeah, he was a carpenter for a short period of time, but when he started his ministry, he didn't have like a salary to rely on. Like, he just basically travelled where he was needed, and he just kind of did things spontaneously in the moment. And all these people were following him, and he didn't worry about how to take care of them. Like, God provided for them, and he just kind of did things on the fly. And I know that might sound like a pipe dream to a lot of us. Like, we've got responsibilities, if you've got children or if you've got family to take care of, things like that. But of course, we've got to be responsible and fulfill our duties, but we can still have a bit more flexibility than we think we can. Like, if we watch the same TV show every night, maybe one night we could go out and look at the stars, or we could, go out and do something different, or whatever it is that we want to do. Like, we could watch something different on the TV just one night of the week and see how that changes our lives. I know a lot of this stuff I'm talking about might seem very simple and kind of obvious, but I just felt like people needed to hear it, and I needed to hear it. Like, I've literally just been out, and it's really sunny today, which is strange for here. Usually the weather is horrible. It's usually raining and really miserable and cloudy and stuff, and I could just feel God talking to me and showing me things. And yeah, so freedom, balance, and investment. Those three things are really important, and they all tie into each other. And love as well. I think the thing with love, real love, whether it's platonic, the type of love we have for our family or our friends, or whether it's romantic, or whether it's a bigger kind of love, like a love for humanity as a whole, or God, or nature, or anything like that. Different types of love. When it's real, it's potent and it's juicy. And like, when it's kind of dead and there's like no movement, no growth, that's when resentments build up, and that's when things get boring, and things kind of get a bit, just blah. And yeah, it just kind of sucks when it gets to that point. I mean, the thing is, a lot of relationships or situations can be fixed, and it just needs a fresher energy. It just needs a bit of a different approach, and just to kind of break up the day-to-day boring stuff, by injecting some fresh energy in there. I want to do this more. Like, I want to do more lives and talk more. Like, I don't usually do it because I usually look quite rough, to be honest. Like, I feel a bit self-conscious now. I tried to get my hair in because I feel like my hair looks nice, but yeah, I usually don't really like to go on video unless I've got makeup on and unless I feel like I look good and I feel confident. But I thought I'm going to be brave and I'm going to just try and talk, and I want to get used to like hearing the sound of my own voice more because I work from home and you know I live with my elderly mother. I don't really talk to people a lot, and I don't really I don't really talk out loud very much anymore, you know, like I used to. So I feel like the more I talk out loud, the more I'm gonna get better at expressing myself again. You know, I used to do acting and I used to perform a lot and do public speaking and those type of things, and it's a big part of my life purpose, and I want to inspire other people to do stuff that they want to do too. So I feel like if I practice talking more instead of texting, that'll help and it'll encourage other people to do the same. It's great for your throat chakra too, if anybody knows about the energy centers in the throat. The more that you communicate through speaking, it can like free up the energy and it can get things moving. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit nauseous, and I feel like if anybody else like feels this, obviously this isn't medical advice, but sometimes when we feel nauseous, it's just like a build up of old energy and you know, old situations that have been played out, and it's like, yeah, it's time to move on and do something new and have an adventure. So yeah, has anybody got any questions or anybody want to talk about something? If anybody, like, if this has resonated with anybody and they want to talk about it, feel free to DM me or talk in the group chats or comment on my feeds. I feel a bit better for doing this, and yeah, I'd encourage you, if you feel like God is laying something on your heart or you're getting some guidance, share it. You know, try and share it if you can publicly, and you might be surprised because other people might be vibing with it too, and it might kind of help somebody else. So yeah, I think I'm going to wrap it up for now, but thank you guys, and hopefully I'll be doing more of these soon.